Okay, so today I'm going to teach you a nasty trick.
Oh no. Yes.
Okay, so this is what we're going to call recursion, which it should be noted is two things. It is your best friend, and it will also occasionally slap you in the face. Be aware of that. It will usually be unannounced and unexpected. You'll go to do something with recursion and the computer will just backhand you. It happens. Don't worry about it. Everybody gets the recursion backhand once in a while. You just have to pay attention to it. The real danger with recursion is that you might get the very cool named, this is where a stack overflow error comes from. Error. So what a stack overflow error is when you keep telling the computer to call itself, and then in the self call you tell it to call itself again without stopping. And so what it does is it opens up a stack of things that it needs to compute, right? And it needs to compute the last one, but to compute the rest, but there is no last one. And so this stack will just go to the sky, right? And once the computer fills up all its memory with like, okay, there's an empty spot in my memory, that's going to be filled in from this next one, right? Once it fills all of its memory with these empty spaces, it doesn't have anywhere else to put anything, and then it just kind of stops. Okay, so that's what a stack overflow error is. And we're going to see one of those here in a second. So for my first example, I'm going to make, I have a setup method and a draw method, and I'm going to make a new method that I'm going to call rings. Oops, that's not how methods work. Rings gets empty braces and curly braces, or empty parens and curly braces. And then I'm also going to go get my circle method from someplace. So let's see, I had that kicking around in this one. So I'm just going to copy and paste my circle method out of here. And if you're paying a lot of attention, you'll see where I'm going today. But okay, so I'm going to go get my old circle method, right? Which just takes an X and a Y and a radius and draws a circle of that radius. You guys all remember that one? Okay, so what I'm going to do is when the draw method starts, I'm going to call the function rings. And what rings is going to do is it's going to draw a bunch of rings. Cool. And the way it's going to draw a bunch of rings is it's going to draw a circle at width over 2, comma, height over 2, comma, let's see, what's the third argument for this circle method? Radius. Yeah, some kind of radius. So I'm going to put in 400 there just for kicks. And then up here, I'm going to make an integer that I'm going to call step, just to kind of keep track of things. And I'm going to start that one out at 0. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle, and then we're going to increment the step variable. And okay, so let me see, what do I expect this to do?
No.
Why not? Okay, so, yeah. So this is where we have to put on our little thinking brains, right? So setup method runs once, right? That sets my size and my background. And then in draw, we're going to call the rings function, or the rings method. The rings method is going to call the circle method with width over 2, height over 2, comma 400. So that's going to draw what?
Circle.
that's going to draw a circle based at the middle of the screen that's 400 in radius, right? And then it's going to count up. And then once it falls out of the rings method, right? Once it's done the rings method, where's it going to go?
Back to the top.
Back through the draw method, right? Because the draw method is itself a loop, right? So the draw method's going to loop again, which is going to cause this circle to be drawn again and increment the step variable. You guys all see that? So my expectation is that this is going to draw a whole bunch of circles. Are they getting bigger or smaller?
It should just draw one circle.
Yeah, it's drawing one circle
And then-
over the top of itself 60 times a second, right?
And then Steph is just gonna.
You guys with me on that? So I get this big old circle. 400 was clearly too big as a choice for radius, right?
No,
Okay.
it's fine.
No, it looks fine. Okay. Whatever. All right. So let me see here. So the step variable's incrementing up, right? So maybe let me take this out of the draw loop just to make things a little bit more transparent. Okay, so now how many times is the rings method going to get executed? Once, right? You guys all see that? So I should expect the exact same thing. How much looping is going on in this?
Well,
Yeah.
60 times a second.
Well, 60 times a second, it's looping through no code, right? Well, it's looping through a comment, right? So it is looping through 60 times a second, but that loop isn't doing anything. I could also just turn on no loop. I'm just going to leave it in this setup method to be totally transparent, right? So the next thing I'm going to want to do is, well, I don't want it to just draw the one circle. I want it to draw another circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it. So I'm going to call it. I'm going to have it call itself. Good.
Once.
You can do that, is the question, and the answer is yes. You can have a method call itself. Should be noted, this is not going to go well. So let me just see what it does.
Now it's a loops. What?
What in the heck is happening there? I'm waiting for the... I'm kind of waiting for it to stack overflow on me, but it probably isn't going to.
What? Oh, no, yeah, it is.
So, yeah, hang on. Ah, there it is. Okay, so what's up is that every time it calls the rings method activates itself, right? You guys remember the fork bomb that we made? This is like a mega slow fork bomb because it's not calling itself twice, right? It's calling itself once, but the others are still open. You guys see that? So this basically is just trying to open itself, infinitely many times, right? So, in fact, you can even see that they've got a cute explanation. The Stack Overflow error means that you have a bug that's causing a function to be called recursively. It's calling itself and going in circles. Or you're intentionally calling your recursive function too much and your code should be rewritten in a better way, basically. This is a long way of saying, yo, dummy, you fell in an infinite loop. Stop that. Right? So if I want to stop it from falling in an infinite loop, I want something like if... Yeah, exactly. I just need to stop it somehow. And there's a bunch... Oh,
Whoa, that might still break it.
Okay, so there's a bunch of different ways to limit recursion, and I'll leave that creativity up to you, but shoving everything into an if statement and then incrementing some kind of ticker is a classic solution to this. Oh, God. Okay, so Now, what I might do is all right, I want it to go through and 200 times, what do I expect this to do?
Draw a 400 radius circle.
Yeah, this is going to draw that radius 400 circle 200 times, give or take, right? Step 0 the first time it goes through, and then it stops when it's 199. Sweet. So it is actually 200 times. What's up, Zach?
You should have the radius be the step. That way, when the step increases, the circle.
Oh, that's a cool idea. So why don't I just, instead of putting the radius 400 there, why don't I just put step there? You guys see that? Those will be too close together to tell apart. So I'm gonna do like 4 times the step. You guys all with that? So they should be like 4 pixels apart.
So you decided 400 was too big, so let's go for 800 radius.
Good point. Let's bring it down to 100 steps. Okay, so now when setup calls the rings method is going to go through and it's going to say if the step is less than 100, draw a circle, go up by 1, and then call yourself. You guys see that? So I expect this to draw. Ruh-roh. What happened? They were there for a second. Did you guys see that?
Oh, failed.
Yeah, it's not a frame rate thing. That's a good thought, though. So why is it not a frame rate thing? Yeah, because it's instant, because it's in the setup method. There's no looping here, right? The draw method is inactive.
I'll put no fill in the setup.
But I need to put a no fill in here someplace. And here's the hilarious, oh, damn it, Adam, I knew you'd see that. So if you put the no fill here, when's it going to turn off filling? After it draws all the circles? Don't! That's going to need to go up here, right?
Ooh, Warren.
Yeah, this is actually like the coolest thing you can, the coolest optical illusion you can get it to draw really easily. If you change the width in between the circles, it changes the way your brain sees it, which is kind of fun.
Ooh, fun. Hey,
Go to 2.
Wow.
Go to 2.
what's the method to make it so you can change different colors of lines?
Oh, you want to change the colors of the...
Oh, no, you're gonna make them red.
Yeah, so one thing you could do is you could do this, right? You could, in your method, you could do, let's see, if I wanted random stroke weights, or stroke colors, it's stroke does not exist. What's the function?
Random stroke.
No, Stoke doesn't.
Stoke doesn't exist. Stroke does. And then this needs to be an integer or a color, right? So I'd do...
I think random equals 5 works. I think what random converts into it.
Is it figured out?
Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like it'll take a float. So if we do this, that should give me a random color.
Jawbreaker.
Awesome.
That is kind of cool. All right, so everybody kind of clear on recursion?
Yeah.
Okay.